This is question number 18 on practice homework 1, problem 11-15. So I want to use this question to show you how to solve basically it's just end up with solving one unknown equation. So a stock has expected return of 14%, a beta of 1.65, and expected return on the market is 11.2%. And what must the risk-free rate is. So obviously, you can also say that from the title using CAPM, so capital asset pricing model. We can use the capital asset pricing model to solve out this question. So capital asset pricing model says that expected return on a security, ER, is simply the risk-free rate, RF, plus the beta of the security times the market expected return on the market and minus the risk-free rate. So that's what this CAPM model is. And then we are told this is simply 14%, the expected return of the security, and the beta is also given 1.65, and expected return on the market is also provided, that's 11.2%. So from that you can see actually this equation only has one unknown, which is RF. So we can now plug in all these numbers. Okay, so it's 14% equals RF, and then plus 1.65 times 11.2% minus RF close parentheses. So if I multiply each of these two by 1.65, and then I ended up with RF plus 1.65 times 11.2% minus 1.65 times RF. So here you have minus 1.65 RF, and you have RF. So we can combine these two terms with RF and move this 14% to the other side. So because both of this 1.65 times 11.2% and 14%, they are numericals, so we can just combine them. And if we do that, and then if we move this RF to the other side and this minus 1.65 RF to the other side, so they will change sign, and this becomes positive 1.65 RF, and this change sign becomes negative minus RF, and this equals 1.65 times 11.2%, and then move 14% to the other side, then this changes sign. So then we can combine these two terms. 1.65 minus, this is 1 times 1 RF. So it's 1.65 minus 1, so that's simply this. 1.65 times 11.2% minus 14%. So RF, that equals 1.65 times 11.2% minus 14%, and we divide both sides by this 1.65 minus 1, so that's simply 0.65. So then we can solve out this by simply using whatever means. You can use Excel or your calculator, whichever is more convenient for you. I use Excel, so it's that equals 1.65 times 11.2% minus 14%. I need to add the parentheses, otherwise, because I'm gonna divide by 0.65. If I don't have a parenthesis here, Excel will do the division first. So that's why I need to add a parenthesis divided by 0.65. So we end up with this risk-free rate, and we need to pay attention to the rounding requirement. Enter your answer as a percent rounded to 2 decimal places, so we can manipulate this and change format to percentage and keep 2 decimal places, and then it's 6.89. So just type this 6.89. Before I check my work, I want to show you another way we can get the same answer. We can just use the Excel. ER is simply, this is by autocorrect. So this is 14%. And then we also know that the beta is 1.65. And then finally, we know the market return. That's 11.2%. So we know the relationship, as we wrote there, the relationship between ER, RF, beta, ERM is like in the CAPM. So now we can assume, suppose we know this RF, whatever. So let's say it's 5%. So with 5%, my expected return, ER, this is, let's say this is A, because it's assumed. So let me use A or EA. Okay, so now I can use CAPM. So it's RF plus beta times expected return on the market, and then minus this RF, and then close that. Obviously, because this RF is assumed, so based on this RF, beta, and RM, I calculated the expected return, which is this. But this obviously, most likely, it won't equal to the actual expected return, which is given by 14%. But what I can do is take the difference between this calculated expected return based on the assumed risk-free rate and the actual return. So now I have a goal. My goal is to make this difference disappear. So make the difference to be 0. What I can use is this data. Use the data in Excel, and then what if analysis, and then use the goal seek. So I can use the goal seek. Goal here is the B8, which stands for the difference. I want to make the goal to be 0 because that's my target. And then by changing the cell, which cell I want to change? The RF. It's the risk-free rate. So now with that, I keep this. The reason I got this integer number of RF is because I think I only kept 0 decimal places. But now since Connect wants me to keep 2 decimal places, so I changed the format. And now you can see this RF is the same as what we calculated earlier using calculator or Excel by using the formulas. So this is another way to get the same answer. And this actually can assure you that you have got the right answer because both ways give you the same answer. But we use Excel, the goal seek function. Now let's check my work. Good job.